God, I thought, when we first met, you're so animated and everything, it was going to be great. And I was like, yeah, because I'm going to see this again on the internet and everyone's going to be making fun of me. So I just said, I'm not going to be scared anymore. I'm just going to be as genuine as I want to be myself. So the first thing is defining priorities and communicating to people as we're kind of just getting to know each other, right? So this is my fourth assignment here, and I know the community pretty well, but the people at the base are still trying to get to know me, and I'm still trying to get to know the people at the base. So I do that a lot of times by just going out and saying hi to folks and getting to know them, and then also what I've done is communicate my priorities. Okay, so the priorities for me are threefold, and it's basically people, mission, and then the community. So to run over those a little bit, people are the foundation of what we do. And my philosophy is if I take care of people, we provide a good environment for people to be successful, and we grow them, we mentor them, take care of their needs, take care of their families, they will go to the ends of the earth for the mission, which is fundamentally different than a lot of other, they'll focus on the mission first. I'm a big people first kind of mindset. And the mission is everything that we do here at Seymour Johnson. And just to kind of capitalize that for a lot of folks that don't know, we have what I kind of been into three different, responsible areas. The first one is our operational training mission, which is training F-15E air crew for the combat air forces to deploy in support of U.S. national security interests. And we supply air crew to Mountain Home, which is in Idaho. And then we support or send folks to Lakenheath, which is where I just came from, which is in England. And then we send people across the street to our folks' operational squadrons here. That training lasts about 6.5 months and is about, probably $3 million a student. And it's a very, very intense training program. And then they move forward to their bases and they go forth and do amazing things for the nation. The second thing that we have is what I call global precision attack. Global precision attack is our operational mission that we send aircraft out to deploy at a moment's notice anywhere in the world to forward national security interests out there. And the third of that is what I call agile combat support. And agile combat support is all of those elements in the base. Think of it as like a big security blanket that provides the ability to be able to do global precision attack and operational training. So that is our medical group, that is our mission support group, that is our security forces, our logistics personnel, all of our admin folks, everybody that it takes to run the airfield. All of those people, public affairs, my wing staff agencies, my judge advocate, all these teammates come together, agile combat support, to enable global precision attack and to enable operational training. And so those are kinds of the three things under the mission side. When I talk about my priority of the community is very much, everyone talks about, it's like a place. If I think of the community, everyone typically talks about the base and then the community, but it's a little bit different under my priority. Community is, think of it as all of us together holding our arms together on the base and off the base together as one kind of big population, sharing our interests, sharing what's important to us, our values, and coming together to ultimately make everyone's life better. And so I want our folks on the base here at Team Seymour, and I know Colonel McPike over the 916th would say the same thing, is that we want our folks when they go off base to be incredible ambassadors for the nation and for the United States Air Force. And so that relationship is really, really huge. It's emphasized much so not only from the base, but also from the incredible community support that we get from our Military Affairs Committee, all of the folks at the Chamber of Commerce, all of the city and county and local, state, and federal government that supports Seymour Johnson and the missions that we do here. And all of that together combines for a really, really tight community relationship between the base and off base. And that is actually a testament from years of work, years of commitment by leaders sitting in this chair and have been pointed to as an example for the entire Air Force and really the entire military to follow. So I want to make sure that continues to stay interlinked and very strong under that. So those are the three priorities, and then communicating those to the people to get back to our 2-month thing. And then for me, the biggest challenge is learning just how to do this job. It's a big animal. We've got 6,000 active duty. We've got about 5,000 dependents, so family members of active duty, Plus, we've got a whole bunch of retirees, and so just over 10,000 retirees. Some numbers say 15,000, and so that 20 to 25,000 person population, and managing all of that from the base infrastructure is a little bit daunting, a little challenging. So, still learning my job. But again, my fourth assignment. I'm no stranger to Goldsboro, and we're happy to be back. We love it here. Dream job. Dream job. Cool stories. I drove through the gates here as a second lieutenant, so 27 years old. Family, my wife with two little kids, 3 years old and 1 year old. It was right about the time that Star Wars Phantom Menace was coming out. We were rolling through the gates here. I remember that distinctly. And so as a very, very young person, I learned how to fly the aircraft and kind of be an officer here. Then we went to an operational assignment in England, and then we came back. And so I was here as a mid-level captain. Went and did some other assignments, and then worked down at Fort Bragg, came back to do leadership here, and so we were back a little bit older. And so just over 3 years ago, in 2015, we left. We went to do some school. We went to England for a couple of years, and then we arrived back. So we've been here 4 times. And, we lived out in Rosewood. We lived out on Cashwell. And then my family lived, when I was here this last time, they lived down near Fort Bragg in a place in Pinehurst, if everyone knows that. Beautiful location. And I lived up here in a very, very small apartment over on Berkeley, where it was, I had a lot of friends that looked like cockroaches, and life was good, but it was very simple. And so, so this is my 4th time back here, and we're excited to be here. So the base has always been incredibly mission focused. There's a lot of great history and heritage here at Seymour. Recently we had the Congressional Medal of Honor awarded to Tech Sergeant John Chapman, who was killed in action in Afghanistan at Takur Ghar. What a lot of people don't know is that there were, the next day, as that mission was unfolding, there were aircraft from this wing that are still here that were flying overhead, protecting the Special Operations Forces that were on the ground. And so that relationship that was forged on that mountain has continued to this day. And it stems from the proximity that we have to Fort Bragg and all of the great things that are going on down there. But the mission has always been around Seymour Johnson. It's always been that. The changes that have really seen or kind of take place that have really been noticeable, and I like to attribute this back to a former commander and a mentor, Colonel Slocum before, now Brigadier General Slocum, who works up at Air Combat Command as the Inspector General. During his command, he tried a different approach, which I thought was very successful, because he was trying to change the perception about Seymour Johnson being kind of not a favorable place to be. And so there was a narrative or perception against Seymour Johnson, and he wanted to change that. And so he adopted a different program called Make It Better, or MIB, where he could change the perception of everybody here that Seymour Johnson was actually a premier place to be. And he did that through an indirect approach of messaging and and leadership and all that. And what he was able to do with Make It Better was go out on the installation and build a bunch of facilities geared towards families. We have indoor playground, we have water, water playgrounds, we have expanded CDC, our Child Development Center. And so it was very much geared towards making it better for the families. And then for the airmen side, it was a bunch of initiatives to increase services across the base, and this great thing that has been propagated across the entire Air Force, where we have these clubs. And so whether you were into Xbox or camping or numerous other 70 other clubs, you could connect with people that had shared interests with you, and where it becomes difficult to make friends, now you can make friends and have common interests, and that was powerful. So that was probably the biggest systemic thing that I saw change within the last few years, and that was under General Slocum's leadership. And so we're trying to pick up some of those same momentum things and carry that from Colonel Sage, who was my predecessor, and now to myself. And those are the things that I really noticed, because to be honest with you, when you're younger, you don't see that stuff. You're so mired in the day-to-day mission of just trying to be the best pilot or the best whatever is your job. bringing home the bacon, being a dad, being a husband, all that kind of stuff. And then when you get older, you start looking at these big macro level things. So that Make It Better campaign was something that I really, really noticed that systemically changed the base in the way that the base approaches kind of its support to the population. So one of the things that we're doing that's actually, I would say, very, very, a couple of things that we're doing that are exciting. One of those is a thing that we're doing where we call it a stakeholder-based strategy or aligning narrative, which is something new to Seymour Johnson. And so in the first 30 to 60 days, one of the things that I was trying to do along with the leadership team is we're trying to spike trust, develop trust from the wing in our leadership so that when we try to move forward with big innovations or big things that we want to do, that people will believe in what our vision is for the future. And we did that through the establishment of quick victories. And the quick victories are things that are out there that are on people's minds that we can attack really fast and make change and show tangible progress as we go through. What we're doing behind the scenes is we are asking all the segments of the population, what would they like to see that is different? Or what would they like to change? And so everybody gets to buy in so that it's not my vision or my strategy, but it's our vision, our strategy. And so that is going on right now, and everybody's given their thoughts, and I have a cell that is working that. And I think that's going to be really exciting because that's going to give us our plan for the next 2 years and how we're going to unveil things and execute things, and so that everybody kind of knows which way we're going. And so there are a lot of things that are absolutely inherently obvious, as far as why we exist, on the space. But I need to get everybody to realize that in their mind. I can't just say it, I have to have them believe it. So one of the things we're trying to do is get them to understand, and through learning process, through discussion and messaging from me, to ultimately arrive at the conclusion of why we exist as a service, why we exist as a base, and why we exist, to do the mission. So that's going to happen. The second thing that we're doing that's really, really exciting and innovative, if you will, is there's a culture in the Air Force where our leadership is trying to get us to innovate. It becomes a buzzword, right? We're going to find innovation. We're going to go out there and find all these exciting things to do and make changes and technological advancements and things like that. And so my vice commander, Colonel Ryan Messer, has facilitated us networking into an initiative called MD5, which is a Office of the Secretary of Defense innovation effort to connect the Office of the Secretary of Defense with units like mine to facilitate idea sharing and problem definition and problem solving. To go back to the stakeholder strategy, not only is that the base, but through Mr. Jeremiah Daniels, who's our Military Affairs Committee chairman that's partnered with me, he has agreed. We're aligned together, along with Colonel McPike over at the 916th Air Refueling Wing, to all of us together, bring all the stakeholders to the table so we can come up with a strategy for the next couple of years. And so that's exciting. That's really, really exciting, and I'm anxious to see the manifestation of that as we move down the road. Question at all. Actually, that's one of the biggest responsibilities that I have as a commander, and that is to take care of families. I have a Title X law, U.S. Code duty to organize, train, and equip forces to be able to deploy forward to support U.S. national security interests. And then one of the other that I have is to take care of families. I have not only that mandated by law, but also as my commander's intent from all of my leadership all the way down. So again, going into my priorities of people, it's not just people in uniform, it's not just civilian teammates that are on the base, but it's also all the families. And so we do that through commander engagement a lot of times. And commander engagement, in squadrons is very difficult because of the numbers. Like my AMXS squadron that does maintenance has a lot of people. So how does that commander do commander engagement? He has key spouses, and key spouses are people that he can go out and they get specialized training, and they can go out as like additional people to develop trust. And families can come forward and say, hey, my electricity's out, or hey, I'm having a hard time with getting my car fixed. I don't know how to start up the lawnmower. And key spouses can invoke teammates in their units, or even all the way up to me, and we will go out there and provide support to relieve stress for those families. And what I would tell you is that's a program that, if it's broken, can make can really do damage. But if it's on, it can be a combat, what we say a multiplier, where it increases our capability, because people can focus on what they need to when they're deployed and not have to focus on their family at home. And so that relieves a lot of stress and burden from them mentally as they're deployed forward. So that's how we do it. And that's important. That's why we have the Child Development Center. That's why we have indoor playgrounds. That's why we have, as you drive around, you go, oh, that's kind of neat. All of that is for the families, to take care of them so they can go do these amazing things downrange that nobody ever hears about, but you can rest assured that it is happening and going on, and everybody can be proud of that. It's good stuff. To everyone that wants to know what we're trying to do, we're trying to cultivate a team culture here where we are trying to get people to think of the team before they think of themselves. That you would think that would be inherently obvious, but it's not. And we're trying to cultivate that, and that's going to require it's going to require leadership. So for the longest time, for years, because of the busyness of the tempo and the change in which the Air Force has been undergoing, it's always going through change. One of the things that we've done is the Air Force has done a lot of things, with stresses that are placed on it. And sometimes the perception is that the Air Force isn't looking out for its people. There's a very, very, very powerful story in 2005. If you walk down the halls of the Pentagon and you go down the halls of the Marine Corps, where the Marine Corps are, you'll see all these great Marines that are all that have had an impact on, and General Dunford, the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs, likes to talk about humans before hardware. Very powerful message. When you walk down the hallways of the Air Force in 2005, you would see airplanes. So we would be fascinated through technology, airplanes, space, all these hardware things. But what's been cool is, since then, we've oriented where the Air Force is now trying to focus on people. And General Goldfein, our current Chief of Staff, has made that a priority. And it's a very, very exciting time. So what he's trying to do is get people to buy into the team vision, to put the team first. And because a lot of people are worried about, own self-interest a lot of times, because they're worried about the change and how's this going to affect me. And what General Goldfein has been great, and Secretary Wilson, our Secretary of the Air Force, has been great about, is providing the guidance and the environment and the shelter over top that say, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. And we've got leadership underneath that's going to take care of you. We need you to go forth and conquer and do the amazing things for the nation that we need you to do. And so that is incredibly exciting. So I am just following the lead of our awesome leadership, and that's not me, being, that is me believing. That is why I'm sitting in this chair, because I believe in the leadership and what they're saying all the way down the chain of command. So that's an exciting thing, and so that's something that we're doing for our airmen. Something else that, and the team here, but there's something else that I'd like to bring out is, I need the community's help. Okay, I need the community's help. We had a program here that was stood up, and it was called the Adopt an Airman Program. And the Adopt an Airman Program is essentially the community, folks out off the base, civilian, retirees, older, younger, bringing someone from the base into their family and devoting a little bit of time to give people a meal off base or some fellowship or being able to have a conversation about life. Because I have a lot of folks who are learning how to be good at their job. They're away from home for the first time. They are learning how to balance their checkbook. They're learning how to manage a complex relationship, and they're learning how to make the transition from being a teenager to a young woman or a young man. And that is a very, very, very stressful time. And sometimes you need comfort, and you need advice, and you need solitude, and you need mentorship, and getting away from work and going out and talking to folks that have been there, done that, out there, and have grown up, to be a voice. So Adopt an Airman sounded like people were getting questions at church and stuff about, does that mean I have to adopt them? Like, are they going to be staying with us for a week? So we rebranded it, and we now call it the Airman Sponsorship Program, ASP. There's information about it on our website. If you go to seymourjohnson.af.mil, you can watch the video. There's information on the website where you can click into, and all it entails is filling out an application and volunteering your time and giving back to, the base, if you will, and these young men and women who have raised their hand, who are oftentimes thousands of miles from home, who are trying to figure out how to live life, and you could help me by helping mentor them. And so please, 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 I would ask you to consider that. Because that's something I need help with. And then as you're mentoring them, as you're hearing and they're opening up and you're developing trust, if there are things that you find out that I should know about, that I can do to help make their life better, make all the airmen lives better, I want to know. And then it's a great feedback mechanism for me to find out those things that we need to take care of to get after making sure all our people are taken care of in accordance with the priorities that I've outlined before. So please, please, please look up the Airman Sponsorship Program. The video is absolutely amazing. Public Affairs did an absolutely amazing job with that. And one of the individuals that's at the end of the show talks about, hey, you see the bumper stickers about we support our troops or we support the troops. He's like, well, that's great, but here's how you really support the troops is volunteering just a little bit of your time. And that's what I'm asking for the community to help us with that.